Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. Welcome, everybody, to Haymakers and Submissions. My name is Drew, and I'm talking with Chops. We're going to be talking about MMA, boxing, and more. Chops, how you doing today?
Man, you know what it is. Again, every day above ground is a good day. I'm ready to talk boxing. You know what it is. My Steelers on the bye week. They're 6-2. It's a good day, man. It's a good day all the way around, brother.
It's a good day. We're happy here in Detroit. I heard we got a pretty good football team over here now, too.
Oh, yeah.
People are saying, I don't know.
Yeah, you honestly, you guys got an argument. Literally the best team in the NFC right now. Best team in the NFC right now. That's legit. I ain't even gonna front. That's legit.
Yeah, we go to Lambeau to face the Packers this weekend on Sunday. That's gonna be a hell of a game. We will be. We will find out. Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, Steelers on a bye. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I've seen people doubting Mike Tomlin. I've heard them doubting Mike Tomlin. Why would you doubt Mike Tomlin?
Man,
check this, Chops. In my lifetime, in our lifetime, your Steelers have had, count them, 3 head coaches.
3, baby. 3. That's it.
Noel, Cowher, Tomlin.
All Hall of Famers.
Hall
of Famers.
Damn right. I mean, that's greatness right there. That's the model franchise in my view. Always has been. Loved him since Bradshaw. But hey, brother, let's talk some combat sports. Let's get into it. We're going to talk about boxing first. And let's start out, man. We were talking last week on the show about the Flint Hatton fight that happened a few months ago. The rematch took place this Saturday. Jimmy Joe didn't make it look too difficult. I'll say that much. He did a nice job in this fight. What did you see?
Honestly, man, it was the same as the first one. Yep. Your boy, he gave as good as he got again and again. You know, Hatton gave as good as he got, but he was still wide on punches. Remember, I spoke about that in the first one. He was just wide on punches. So second half of the fight, Flint started beating him to the punch. He wasn't hurting him, but he was beating him to the punch, just getting more points. And at this stage, I don't know. Honestly, Drew, I don't know if there's anything that can be done to get Flint is who he is. Or excuse me, Hatton is who he is. You know what I'm saying? I don't see him being able to change. To me, he doesn't look like to have a lot of power. And he can take a good shot. So on that aspect, he could be somewhat of an entertaining fighter because he's always going to bring it. I don't see him getting a lot of knockouts. And maybe he doesn't get knocked out a lot, but he likes to throw leather. So that can always be entertaining. But in this rematch, not trying to be funny, it was pretty much the same fight as the first one. Started out strong, gave as good as he got the entire fight. But second half of the fight, Flint's discipline, Flint's punches just were the difference. And when I say the difference, landing more, being more crisp, more disciplined. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what made it. That's what made it.
Yeah, you're right. Hatton's got a good chin. Doesn't have a lot of power. Not afraid to throw punches, that's for sure. But you can't be a fighter who is going to win fights based on how busy you are and how efficient you are with your punches. You've got to do some damage, and you also cannot be taking the same amount of punches in return. That's the recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Now, see, here's the crazy part to me. With his father being who he is, and you would figure he's grown up around gyms his entire life.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't expect to see, and I hate to say lousy. I don't want to use that word. I'm not going to disrespect the man that hit, with his craft and the levels he's reached. But you would expect to see more on the aspect of technique, crisper, cleaner punches, tighter hooks, rotating at the hip, turning that hand. You don't see any of that. He's throwing so wide. Sometimes he's hitting with the wrist of his glove. He's just so wide with his punches. You know what I mean? That shocked me. So I would just from who his father is, the camp he's come from, I would have expected more. I really would have.
Yeah, he's not terribly efficient with his punches. When he was throwing some wild haymaker overhand rights, and he was ducking down the way you're supposed to, but he was leaving his head wide open. It's like hit me. And Flint's corner saw that, and they were starting to catch him. They were starting to catch him. He was telegraphing that shot in the first place. And you just it's not like I'm going to go in there and whip his ass. I mean, no, but at the same time, I understand what he's doing. And the stuff's slow.
And it's crazy because when you watch him, it's almost like, okay, always a question after a loss, where do I go from here? But you didn't change a lot from the first fight to this fight, okay? And you knew this guy. I don't think he's going to change his style. So having said that, if any opponent, you should have been watching Hatton before if you're any other opponent. But now after watching this in a rematch, he didn't change much. It's going to be the same thing. So having said that, if I'm a Hatton opponent from here on out, okay, I'm working my jab. I'm working the jab. And if you're throwing hooks, everything has to be tight against him. Everything. If you are Hatton's opponent, you've got to keep everything tight because he's so looping with his punches. And it's just like, and I said it last week, I expected him to tune that up. I really did. I expected him to change it up. I expected to see something different, and we didn't. We didn't. We didn't.
Yeah. So what about the talk about I'm reading, and quite frankly, across my mind, should Campbell Hatton continue in boxing? What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. He's not getting abused. He's not getting embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. For the most part, you and I are everyday Joes. We're in boxing. However, 9 chances out of 10, if you take us to a barbecue, we're going to know more boxing than most of the other guys there and the techniques, this, that, and the third. Okay. So having said, you know what I'm saying? Having said that, and you got to admit, if you get to go to a barbecue or you get to go somebody and somebody can talk boxing to you, and within 15 seconds if they know boxing or if they're just repeating something they heard, or if they just know a fighter here and what a punch looks like. Oh, he knocked him out. He kicked his ass. Yeah. Come on. If that's all they got, then, they're not boxing guys. And I'm saying all that to say he should and can continue. Now, he's still, I don't even know how old he is. He's not old.
No, he's in his mid-20s.
Yeah. But he's not embarrassing himself. Now, if he goes out there and by the 8th, 9th round, latter half of the fight, championship rounds, not that he's going to be in the 10-12 championship rounds, but if he's like late 7 and on and he's just getting battered, he's undetectable, you don't know who he is. He looks completely different. And that happens fight after fight, and he's almost taking shots like Rocky. Yeah, dude, it's time to get out. It's time to get out. But but here's also the thing. If that's all you know, and if you have bad technique, but you can master bad technique, you know what I mean? Then I'm not trying to be funny. There are certain things that fighters do, that, maybe someone else wouldn't do, but it works for them. You know what I mean? So, then it's other in sports as well. Like we talked about football, Mahomes. Some of the passes Mahomes make, you wouldn't teach that to a kid coming up, but he can do it. So on the one hand, I would say, well, if that style works for him, then keep working with it. But as you get higher up the food chain, you're going to lose those fights because your punches are so looping. And another guy who may not even be better skilled or more skilled than Hatton, but he'll be more disciplined. Throw the straight jabs, throw this, because honestly, if you wanted to, and off a diet of strictly jab, overhand, jab, overhand, you can do damage and probably outland, Hatton. Now, here's the thing though. He's just going to keep digging. So I don't know how, if it's, but I wouldn't say he has to give it up. I wouldn't say he has to get up. Now, if you've got dreams in which anybody worth their salt has dreams of not even being champ, but at some point you all want to be champ, but some point you realize it's not in the cards for me, but you want to be the best fighter you can be. At that point, he's going to have to change some things. He's going to have to. I don't know if his father's not working with him. But again, you'd think he would have access to some of the best trainers. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know. But if in 1-2 words, no, don't give it up. What were you thinking he should, or?
No, I think I agree with you in the sense that he's not taking a lot of punishment. But if number one, he's got a lot going against. He's got a lot working for him with his name, and it's also working against him. It is putting an undue amount of I wouldn't say pressure. There's some pressure involved, but there's expectations on him that he may never be. He may not even be capable of living up to, because his dad was a great fighter. Dad was a great boxer. However, if we recall, his dad, and we talked about this last week too, is Ricky Hatton, got his name for a reason. He would balloon up 40, 50 pounds in between fights every time. And that's not a good, that's, to me, you could say, well, yeah, he's got a great work ethic because he's able to shut it off. But yeah, but he also probably shaved 5 years off his career because of that. You cannot put your body through that consistently all the time. You're going to pay the price, and you can't do that. So I don't know what kind of guidance he's really getting. And it seems like they were always kind of this small, I mean, not that Manchester is a small town, but it's a from what I know about it, I certainly like the music that comes from there back in the day, but it's a smaller town mentality, and everyone kind of sticks to their own. It's cool in that sense, but maybe you might need to reach out a little bit and learn some different things. He's got to get more aggressive, in my view, but also he's got to be more crisp and more aggressive. There's got to be something that changes. I agree with you 100%, but I don't know if he's going to go through with that or not. If they're stubborn, hard-headed, they're not gonna. I think you're on mute, buddy.
Appreciate it. I keep hitting my bad. Well, here's the thing. If his punches become more crisp, they'll look more aggressive. Yeah, because he doesn't hide from a fight. He's there to throw. Real quick, don't forget his father. Now it has been, well, you're right, because technically his father had 48, 49 fights. That's a lot that's a lot. Yeah. His father's 46 or something like that. And he hasn't fought since like 2012. So you figure his last fight was early 30s. Mm-hmm. So a lot could go into that. Did he retire because going heavy and then cutting it down between fights, trying to get down was something that was hard for him? Let me see something. Hold on for half a second, because I want to make sure I got this right. Yeah. So his last two were where he beat Malignaggi, but he lost to Manny, and he got KO'd by Sinchenko. So, but he's okay. Well, you figure he had 3 losses in his career, and those 3 came in his last 6 fights. Yep. Last 5 fights. You figure he fought Floyd, lost. He was young. He Lescano, he beat Lescano, he beat Malignaggi. He lost to Pacquiao, and he lost to Sinchenko. You know what I mean? So, having said that, again, also some of his bigger names he lost to, but he did beat Costa Zoo. You know what I mean? So, but what I was getting at is, even if he can't learn it from his father, you know what I'm saying? You can't learn it from his father, because even though Leon and Mike had the same genes, they were 2 different fighters. You know what I mean? They were both great talented, but they were 2 different fighters in their styles and whatever have you. So I'm saying that to say, maybe he doesn't get it from his dad, but with that name, should be able to walk into any gym and get some of the best tutelage. Maybe he's hard-headed and he doesn't want to do it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he likes the guy that's been with him, and out of loyalty, he wants to stay with him. But if he's watching film and other people were there watching film and they truly love him, they should be telling him, you're too wide. And if your trainer doesn't whip that into you, you're too wide, and still let you fight like that, then at some point you're like, okay, why is the trainer staying with me? Because he's staying with a guy that he can't train and can't get better. That's beating your head against the wall. I just don't know, man. I don't think he should quit. I don't think he should quit. Maybe he just needs to find a cornerman that can get to him, can get to him. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think he should quit, though. I don't want him to.
No, I'm with you. I want to see him improve, though.
Without question.
More of the same. And I mean, he's always going to get, he'll be on any main card in the UK at any given time until he doesn't want to be with his name alone. But he's got to show he fought well. Again, it wasn't really, I wouldn't call it, was not a close fight on the cards, and I don't believe it was either. But at the same time, he's game. Let's hope he learns something from it, because he does have potential. There's no doubt about that. Hey, let's jump into that main event, Chops. Let's talk about the Catterall Prograis fight. Jack Catterall, quite a second half in this fight, because it's a pretty close fight up until the 6th round, and then all of a sudden, Captain Jack took over a little bit. What were your thoughts?
Okay, and I've got to find because I took some. Okay, at the ninth round, okay, they put up the total punches, right? In the 9th round, Catterall had landed 44. Prograis had landed 48. Catterall had thrown 241. Prograis had thrown 259. Catterall was landing 18%, Prograis 19%. That's a close fight. That is a close fight. And whether you thought it was a knockdown or not, Prograis had that earlier knockdown, right? To me, yes, then he has those 2 knockdowns in the 9th. But big dog, if you go back to it, the 10th and 11th or 11th and 12th, Catterall didn't throw a lot of punches. Now, Prograis was hurt. They're saying he had a dislocated ankle. He turned his ankle. Yes, I had Catterall winning that. But when I read and I'm listening to those scores, to me, again, that was just a lot of home cooking. It was just home cooking. Because here's the thing. When he knocked him down twice in, what was that, the 9th or the 10th? When he knocked him down?
Round.
Okay, he knocked him down. I thought he was going to be able to get him out of there, and he didn't. But coming in for the rest of the last 10, 11, 12, he never had him in trouble again. Yes, I had Catterall winning, but I had it by like 2 points, maybe 3. I didn't have it by that wide gap. I just didn't. Because, again, I expected more from you. I just expected more from you. But, and we'll get into it a little later, it's my own fault for expecting something. Because, again, Catterall is who he is. You know what I'm saying? So, but I know you and I differed on it. And you were telling me like he's way ahead. I didn't see it that way, especially going into the 9th. So you're not 10, 11, 12. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. If you tell me 2, 3 points, yeah, but with some of those other scores, I didn't see that. I didn't see it that way.
Well, if you figure in the 9th, he had a 10. That's a 10-7 round right there.
Yes,
and he was saved by the bell, and that's why he didn't get him out of it, because that last knockdown was right at the end of the round. Yeah, 10th, 11th, 12th, he wasn't trying to go in for the kill, so to speak. He wasn't trying to necessarily get him out, or he didn't think he could.
Yeah.
But he won the rounds. So you figure 10th, 11th, 12th, there's 3 points right there, plus another 3 in the 9th round. That's why it became kind of lopsided on the scorecard. It was close through the first 6. I thought 7th and 8th, Catterall started doing a little more. And then, of course, the 9th round was the big round. It was a legit knockdown in the 5th round, though. Even though it was a shoulder shot, he knocked him
it was a punch. Yeah, it was a punch. You're right. It wasn't one that hurt him. It wasn't even one that just caught him. It was a balance shot. It was a balance shot. I didn't even catch him. But see, and you're right on those points. But see, again, I also think Catterall was winning some of those rounds where he wasn't doing much in 10, 11, and 12. If you gave him 10, 11, 12. Just because, again, he was home. Because neither one did anything. But at least Prograis was trying to throw. But you could see he had a bad will. So even if you give Prograis one of those 10, 11, and 12, yes, he had the 10-7, which brings him down. But I had it even going through 8, and possibly I could make a case for Prograis being up by a point or 2. You know what I mean? So that's where it was hard for me because, and again, and it stinks because when you hear 117, 111, right? And this, that, whatever, some of these crazy scores, it makes it sound lopsided.
Yeah.
It wasn't to me. It just wasn't. You know what I mean? So, and you're right. And I could see, and I can't even argue, give much pushback. Because like you said, if you want to say you give them all 10 rounds, or 10, 11, 12, well, I mean, I don't have a horse, a dog in this fight. I can't really stand on, no, you're wrong. I can't do that. Mm-hmm. But if I say, I'm looking 11, 12, he didn't do a whole lot. He wasn't in, and I understand, you have the fight secure. You don't want to risk it, but I don't know, man. And also, that fight was there for the taking for Prograis.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know. He did not know how to shut the ring off. He had no idea how to shut the ring off. And if he'd have dug the body a bit more and had a little and been able to land because he was throwing punches with a little pepper on him, just couldn't land them. But if he'd have been able to and learned how to cut that ring off, and if you cut that ring off, now I got you. It's just a matter of honing in. I think it's a different fight. So on that aspect, it's like a fighter at that level, I'd expect you to be able to cut the ring off because you have the ring savvy. Maybe you don't have the power. I was shocked you had power, but you weren't smart enough. And I hate to say that because I don't want to insult anybody, but you didn't have the footwork to shut off the ring. That's you know what I'm saying? It'd be easier. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, to me, if the game plan coming in against Catterall needs to be cut the ring off.
Yes.
That's his game. He's lightning quick. He's squirrely. He's got some pop, but not scary KO power. He's got good power, but he's not a scary knockout artist by any means.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So the game plan absolutely should have been cut the ring off. You know, you're going to have to take to give, but you will give more. Prograis definitely demonstrated he had more power, but he either, and when we talk about the ankle, that ankle got hurt in the 12th round. He slipped on the logo in the middle of the canvas, and he really hurt. The last half of that round, he basically was just surviving. But up until that point, there was just not a lot of effort made there. I don't know if he didn't think it maybe got tired. He didn't want to chase him. I don't know, but you're not going to beat Jack Catterall by letting him dance around and dink and dodge you. I mean, that's not going to get it, especially
when you're in his country, you know, but also in the same token, I don't care who it is. If you know, or if you think you're down on the card, you have to show some urgency. And there's a lot of fighters, regardless, don't leave in the judge's hands. Now we've seen, I'm up 10 rounds to 1. I'm up 8 rounds to 4. You know what? I want to be busy, but I don't want to take an unnecessary risk.
Yeah.
Catterall, yeah. And especially last half of the 12th, after he rolled that ankle, we saw the power was gone because your boy couldn't stand up half the time to plant to throw it. But Catterall didn't show any sense of urgency. Leading up to when he rolls his ankle, Prograis wasn't showing any sense of urgency. You know what I mean? So both fighters, I was like, what are we doing? What's going on?
I don't know what's going on with some of these corner men. I'll be honest with you. I think back to, back in the 90s and 80s, I would see an Angelo Dundee telling me, you're blowing it, son. Yeah. You're blowing it. Teddy, where's the phone? I'm going to call your son, tell him how you quit on this fight in the middle of the fight. I mean, but you can't be blowing smoke up your fighters' asses, telling them, "Well, you're doing such a great job," when you know damn well they're losing on the card. Or even if you think there's a chance they're losing on the card, you cannot tell them that. You can't keep telling them, "Oh, stay away, you got it." No.
But we hear that nowadays. That's the time we live in. Listen to me again. I've said this before. You can play football, you can play basketball, you play baseball, you can play soccer. You don't play boxing. No. You don't play martial arts. You don't play combat sports. People's lives are at risk. You know what I'm saying? So you need to be honest with your fighter. And I didn't see any urgency from either. And I didn't hear the urgency in the camps, in the corners either. I didn't hear it. You know what I mean? So, there's some guys who'll say, don't leave it in the judge's hands. Me and Justin say it all the time for MMA. Don't leave it in the judge's hands. But I don't know, man. When it started out first couple rounds, okay, we're going to have some pop and leather. It may not go 9-10. Like it may not go, Leo. Let's see what's going. And it just, I don't know, man. It wasn't what I expected on that aspect.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it was a fun fight to watch. It was a good fight. I think we got our money's worth out of it. It's a good card.
Oh yeah,
certainly. But I don't know. I'm not sure where he's going to go from here. But I think we'll talk a little more about the weight class shortly here. We're going to talk about that. But let's first talk about a preview of the fight coming up here on Saturday. O'Shaquie Foster against Robson Conceicao for that WBC Junior Featherweight Championship. The Conceicao won in a very controversial split decision a few months back on, I believe it was on ESPN Plus. I watched that fight, Chops, and I'm an O'Shaquie Foster fan. I really do like him, but I'll be honest with you. Even though I didn't necessarily agree with the card, I thought Foster was not busy enough, and he allowed and put some doubt in those judges' minds. And I don't know why, but I really felt like he could have taken the fight more to Conceicao on that first one. I don't know how you see it, but what do you see that Foster needs to do to win this fight coming up?
Wow. Okay.
I'm gonna
do you want to start? Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk on this one, or do you want to talk on last one? Let's go with our first one.
Let's go with the first
one. You do realize Foster outlanded him 25% to 11%. 25% to 11%. Do you realize the disparity in those numbers, right? The disparity. When they announced Conceicao, let's not forget, first off, he had 3 other shots at a belt, lost.
Yep.
Who loses 3 championship fights and gets a 4th attempt? You know what I mean? So that had me like, okay, what are we doing? Then he gets it, and it's like, wow, Foster, yes, you could have looked better, but you did. I thought he did what he needed to do to get the win. You outpoint him, you outboxed him. You didn't look great. You didn't knock him out, but hey, you outpunt. You did what you're supposed to do. When they announced Conceicao, I was like, are you kidding? That to me, I'm not gonna lie, Drew. I thought he did enough. It might not have been pretty, but see, don't forget, I'm still from the old camp, and I know I'm an old dinosaur, I'm an old curmudgeon, but I'm from the camp. To be the champ, you got to beat the champ. You don't have to knock him out anymore, but if it's a close round, if it's a close round, it's close. Not, man, Drew took that round. He narrowly took it, but he took it. If we can say you took that round, it was narrow, but you took it, you get it. If it's that was close, I don't know. I will always go champ because you've earned that right to get the belt. So that's where I come from, the adage, to be the champ, you have to beat the champ. I'm not saying you have to knock him out. I'm not saying you have to punish him. I'm not saying you have to make his face look like hamburger, but you need to be the clear-cut winner. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I just didn't see that. I just didn't see that. And it was like, to me, at this time, it was not leading the sheep to slaughter, because I didn't think Foster was that type of guy who was just going to knock him out and destroy him, old Tyson-esque. Wasn't thinking that. But I thought you were going to outpoint him, cut him up a little bit. That didn't happen. But it went to, I hate to say dominating, but in my mind, Drew, Foster won that fight. I'm sorry. I had Foster winning that fight.
I agree with that. There's no doubt about that. My concern was I saw Foster in previous fights a lot busier, a lot more crisp looking than what we saw in that first fight against Conceicao. Now, I will never give the judges a pass on that. I thought that was BS. Those are BS scorecards. I'm going to admit that. But Foster's got to help himself too a little more. He definitely, if those judges had an impression in their mind of what they expected to see from him, which I don't agree with, but people are people, and judges are flawed.
Yes.
I mean, you ask 5 judges how they score a fight, you're going to get 5 different answers.
Yeah.
In your credit review from this country, right? They'll give you 5 different reasons why they're going to jack your interest up, even though you're bullets on your credit. But he's got to do more in this next fight, and let's talk about that. How do you see this? What's the strategy here now that he's done? He's the challenger in this fight. Now Foster. He won the title against Ray Vargas in the unanimous decision. Of course, he lost to Conceicao in a very close, controversial split decision. And you mentioned it. Conceicao fought Stevenson and lost in a unanimous decision. He took Navarrete the distance and got and then he gets the split decision over Foster. So I mean, yeah, I don't get it. And I know he also lost to Haney as well previously, Conceicao. So he's fought some names.
Yeah.
He's come up short every time. But yeah, how do you see this fight shaking out? What does Foster have to do to regain that title if he can?
Honestly, I hate to say this. Do what you did before. Add some urgency. Don't come out roughshod, being something that you're not. Don't try to go for the knockout. Don't try to end it in 3 or 4. Fight your fight. Let him come to you. Do what you need to do. And when I'm saying that is, have a little more urgency. Don't get careless. Don't get reckless. But you're the bar. He's a -400 favorite, -410x or somewhere like that. Yes. In experts, listen to me. I know Conceicao is, I don't want to call him an awkward fighter, but he's always a gamer. He's always a gamer, and he's in there to try to give as good as he get. Again, some the theme of the night for me been saying that. But so I'm not looking for him to knock him out, punish him, knock him out in 3, and then walk through him. But his skill set, his toolbox is so much better than Conceicao. You know what I mean? And again, you lose 3 championship fights and you get a 4th. Where does that even happen? So I think Foster, and I think we'll see a different Foster. I do. I think we'll see the Foster that we're hoping that we were looking to see in the first fight. Because Foster, because let's not forget, because Conceicao is the wily veteran. He is the wily veteran. You know what I mean? So he had some tricks up his sleeve, this, that, whatever have you. But I'm just saying, stick with what it brought you. Pop your jab. You're a better boxer. Not stay on your horse, but do what you need to do, and it'll pan out. I'm going with Foster again.
I see it the same way. I think he's going to get a UD in this one. I don't think he'll put Conceicao out because he's a tough fighter. He's been in the ring with some tough dudes, and he's gone the distance with all of them. And you got to, and I do respect that. I hadn't really known much about him until we covered the Haney fight a few years back when we talked about that. And
yeah.
And then moving on, obviously accumulated more losses, but then got the big one over Foster. But that's fool's gold. I don't think he can bring. I don't think Conceicao on the flip side can bring more than what he brought. So I don't believe he's going to be able to hurt Foster. I think Foster just needs to be a little busier, little more active, and he should be able to win this fight. But to your point, don't get careless, don't get desperate, don't think I got to make a big show of this.
Yeah, you said Haney. Do you mean Shakur?
Well, he fought Shakur. Actually, I think Foster might have fought Haney.
I don't know. I was trying to think when though. That one I remember. But but here's the thing. We're both okay. Let me ask you this: Are you going with Foster or are you going with Conceicao in this rematch?
Oh, I'm going with Foster for sure.
Okay. Now, do you think because he knows he got ripped off, he feels I'm the much better fighter? Do you think he'll stay within himself, or do you think he'll go for that knockout?
Well, if he's getting good coaching, he's going to stay within himself. I agree with you. I don't think he needs to do anything more than what he did necessarily in terms of what he brought to the table. He just needs to be a little more active, little more aggressive. But other than that, no, that's not necessary. And I did make a mistake on the Haney fight. I made a mistake. I kept saying that. So it is Stevenson. I apologize.
Okay, yeah.
But it's again. I don't think he can knock him out. To be honest with you, in my opinion. So I think to do anything out of context or out of your norm, out of your comfort zone, wouldn't be a good idea because Conceicao is too good of a fighter. You got to respect him for that. So no, I don't think he's going to do that.
I got you. I'm trying to see 2 or 3 times. Yeah, he's been knocked out a couple times or TKO'd a couple times. Conceicao. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Foster. And here's the thing. The only reason we're doing this because it's a fight. We love sports. But I think Foster got robbed. There's I'm hoping he does stay within himself. Just continue to punish him with the jab. If the knockout comes, it comes. 22 wins, 12 knockouts. I would say 15 knockouts or more, you're a knockout artist. So I'm not calling Foster a knockout artist, but he's got nice hands. He lands punches in bunches. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? And you figure what? Conceicao 36. Yeah. He's 36, and he just turned 36. So, and Foster's 31. So Conceicao's not over the hill. He's not old yet. You know what I mean? So it should still be a good one, as in he'll try to give as good as he gets again. But Foster's toolbox just too good. It's just too deep, man. I'm going to go with Foster.
Gotcha. Yep. Agree with you on that. Let's talk now about the Ring Magazine rankings for the 140-pound class of junior welterweights. And leading the way here is Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney right on his tail at number 1. Any surprises in this list or any omissions that you want to talk about, Chops?
Okay. I don't really have omissions, but when you have like Teofimo, who's looked bad, up and down sporadic in his last few fights, right? And then you have Haney. I understand it's a no contest, right? I understand it's a no contest. So I'm torn because your last fight, you did not look like the number 2 or number 1 contender at 140. But the guy was heavy, he was juicing. So what do we go on? Are we just expected to forget all that? You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that he's suspended, so maybe that's why they don't have Garcia in there. So do you not expect him? You know, you don't have, and so I don't know, man. I don't know. So, but, and I am surprised Catterall is up there at 3, at 2. I just am. I know he's got some belts, but I'm surprised on that. What do you say with it?
Valenzuela's a little low, considering he got the win over Cruz and got the WBA slice of that belt, I believe. So I would have liked to have seen him a little higher up on that list.
And who was that again? I'm sorry. Repeat that. I'm sorry.
Valenzuela. He's in at 10.
Okay.
Maybe at 8. Hell, maybe at 6, but nothing higher than that. I don't think he's in the top 5 yet. Because I'm not so sure. If he runs it back with Cruz, I'm not so sure he's going to win that fight per se. I don't know. He might. He's better than I thought he was going to be. I'll put it that way.
I got you.
Haney, yeah. I mean, considering the Garcia fight basically never happened, I don't see how you justify not having him at the top. I mean, he's kind of the guy. I mean, Lopez, I get why he's near the top, but I don't think he should be above Haney in that regard. He certainly wants to fight Haney. And I know Bill Haney's been talking a lot, as he's been for months now. But at the end of the day, I don't have a lot of issue with it. I would say this division doesn't wow me necessarily. Taylor and Catterall are nice fighters. They're very talented fighters, but they're not.
And you realize, let's not forget, Catterall's never beaten a champion.
No.
Catterall, so you haven't beaten anybody. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but let's call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? So
I watched Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor fights because I really appreciate the sport of boxing. Yeah. The casual boxing fan is not going to pony up to watch them fight necessarily. I look at it that way.
Yeah. And like for him to even be ahead of, who is it? I say Paro, Puelo, and like you said, Valenzuela. I can't. Mm-hmm. And how do you put Teofimo? Really? Teofimo's 1? I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. So I see what they're doing, and it's cool. If that's how you want to go with it, it is what it is. Do your thing, but it's not what I'm not seeing it that way. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, I could have Catterall as low as 7. Just being honest with you, I'd have Catterall as low as 7.
I'll flash that back.
And here's the thing. And again, I'm torn on Haney because Haney, you're right. If he still doesn't fight Garcia, say he ripped the ACL and he's been out, I might have no problem. But it's that visual that I see. Just we didn't realize how bad he was exposed to the left hook. You know what I mean? So and just being honest with you, if you put Teofimo Lopez down 7 or lower, between 7 and 10, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know. And go ahead.
I don't have a huge problem with Lopez being near the top. I just think Haney should be up there, right at the top. I think it should be Haney Lopez at the very least.
Teofimo?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I think he's better than hey, trust me, from talking to me, he's one of the fighters I'm actually not a fan of. I respect his ability. I'm just not a fan of his. But I gotta say, what do I think he could beat Catterall or anyone below Haney on this list? Yeah, I do actually. I really do. Haney's the guy I think he'd have a problem with. He may struggle with Catterall because of his speed, but I think Lopez's power is dynamite in that weight class.
You have Puello at 5, if I'm pronouncing her name right.
Mm-hmm.
You got Matias at 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're looking at Ramirez at 3, right?
Yep.
All of those guys are pretty good at cutting off the ring. Pretty good. Now, I admit, not as against anybody as squirrely as Catterall yet, but they're pretty good. So let's say normally them cutting off the ring is up here. Maybe it's up here. So
okay.
Now you're going against Catterall. So maybe it comes down on here, but it's still better than anybody else he's ever faced. Okay. And we saw a little bit of the power in a few shot by Prograis that Catterall got hit with. He didn't like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to sit there with it, not you, as I'm just saying this. So with a straight face, Puello, Matias, Ramirez, those guys can all shut the ring off, can cut the ring off, and they've got significantly more power than Prograis. So I'm telling you right now. Okay, so let me ask you this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's off the top of your head, so it's really not fair to you. If he's fighting Ramirez, Puello, or Matias, which of those 3 opponents do you favor Catterall?
Okay, so we got Puello. Oops, I'm sorry. Puello
at 5.
Mm-hmm. And then who was in Ramirez at 3?
Yeah.
Catterall's probably not favored against at least Matias and Ramirez. Puello,
they got power.
Exactly.
They got power.
That's the reason. Puello, he would get the edge against, but it wouldn't be much.
I think Puello's skill set, cutting off the ring, and speed would be problems. And he's got some power. He don't have Matias or Ramirez power, but I think it would be issues for him. I really do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true. Good point.
I don't know, man. Just a few of those shots that Prograis hit him with, it didn't head flip back. He just didn't. Now, I don't know, man. So I think he'd have problem with those 3 guys. So, but hey, this is why we have the rankings. So we get to go back and forth and see what's what. You know what I mean? So I'm digging it.
I want Haney Lopez. That's I can say that right now. That's definitely who I want to see fight in that division. Those fighters, I think that's the fight to make right there. And Lopez certainly wants it. So time will tell. Hey, Chop, today is October 30th, 2024. 50 years ago, I was probably sucking on a pacifier and a bassinet, but we had quite a fight in Zaire 50 years ago today.
Yeah, man.
The Rumble in the Jungle, Ali-Foreman. We also watched we watched the Ali-Frazier Thrill in Manila this weekend. I know you did. I did too. Let's talk about the greatest. What you said you hadn't seen the Ali-Foreman fight actually in its entirety until
No. And here's the thing. Watching that, it was crazy. And now I see why they say Ali was psychological. Because as he's getting hit, and I watched 3, the Thrill in Manila, but I also watched Frazier Ali 2 as well. I was Ali-Frazier 2, right? They're throwing, and whenever he clinches, because those are both heavy punchers, especially George, he did it. You could see him talking in his ear. You can't hit. You hit like a sissy. You can't hit. And here's what always stuck out to me. And now after seeing the fight, this is what sticks out to me even more. So I want you to answer this.
Yeah.
Why did Foreman never get a rematch?
Nobody
really knows, but he was a heavy favorite. He never got a rematch.
Yeah, interesting question. I was actually watching. There's this really cool channel on YouTube, the Boxing Encyclopedia. I recommend it to people. I don't know who does it, but they did these excellent documentaries taking the whole decade of the heavyweight division, about 3.5-hour documentary for the 1970s, and I watched it a couple weeks ago, and they talked a lot about it. Foreman chased him, Ali, and I don't pretend to know, because I wasn't really a fan at the time. I was probably 3-4 years old in the 77, 78 time frame, right when Ali fought Leon Spinks, lost to Spinks, and then beat him again, and then had said that was it, but of course we know it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I think realistically, after that fight, I mean, hell of an amazing win, an improbable win for Ali. Because quite frankly, Ali probably had no business winning that fight. But he, like you said, it was psychological. The rope-a-dope was born. Ali was the first fighter that had the wherewithal to use the ropes to his advantage to help him to be able to take blows. I mean, did he get hit? Yeah, he got hit, but he was leaning back almost every time. So it was taking a lot of the sharpness out of those punches. But Big George is getting tired. It doesn't tire you out to hit the object. It tires you out to throw the punch.
Yeah.
Heavy. So it was a brilliant fight by Ali. But I really think the thrill in Manila, which is one of the reasons why we brought it up, that during next year in 1975 in the Philippines, Ali called that the closest to death he's ever come. And he actually was on the stool telling Dundee, take the gloves off. I'm done. And Dundee stopped him because he could see Frazier's corner was saying no. So that's how close this fight was.
Yeah. They gave it all.
Yeah. And to go through all that, now he's at that point, he's like, I want to say he's like in his mid-30s, and he lost 3 years of his prime because, he committed the awful sin of saying, I don't want to fight in a war I don't believe in. Go figure. I don't know. I personally, I don't think he wanted any part of Foreman because Foreman destroyed Frazier twice.
Yeah, I get that, but hold on. But we would have heard if, Ali leading up to fight, Ali, Boombaye, Ali, Boombaye. Anywhere Foreman showed up, they were chanting that, right? We have seen fighters crash other fighters' press conferences, whatever have you.
Absolutely.
Ali fought Norton 3 times. He rematched with Spinks. He fought Frazier 3 times. He's had, even if you say he didn't want anything of Foreman didn't press for a rematch. And I asked that rhetorically, basically, why didn't he get a rematch? And I say this because maybe Foreman knew he couldn't beat Ali. And I say that because Foreman was tired. He was built like a god. Muscles take oxygen.
Yeah.
He was tired. It was 80-some degrees, humid, 90% humidity. He was tired. And he was doing well until he wasn't. I don't think Ali hurt him. I just think he was tired. But part of it, because when you watch, he was doing well. Ali was getting hit, but he wasn't a lot on him. He was, like I said, using a rope-a-dope, which I didn't know. Between a couple rounds, some of those people were loosening the ropes. Dundee saw that and went off. No, do not do that. Because my guys they were tightening up the ropes, so Ali couldn't lean back. And then there's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that now. You know what I mean? So It was a great performance. It was a great game plan. He knew what he wanted to do, but it was like up until the 8th round to where he had hit Foreman a couple times. But when that knockout happened, I never saw that coming until it was there. And he just ran out of gas. And he never asked for a rematch. And I'm like, wow, that he just doesn't think he could beat Ali because everybody else wanted a rematch. You know what I mean? And like I said, he destroyed Frazier a couple times, but they wanted rematches. But Frazier went for the rematch, even though after he got destroyed. I just never understood why Foreman, the heavy favorite, I lose because I ran out of gas. Everybody saw it. Why did he not push for a rematch? I've always wondered that. And now watching the fight, but see, also on the same token, here's the thing. I don't. And he probably did. I just don't remember it. If you tell me Ali threw in 8 rounds more than 4 or 5 body punches, I'd be surprised. I don't remember him off the top of my head throwing any body punches. I don't remember him going to Foreman's body at all.
He didn't dare.
And every punch Foreman threw, I'm not going to say every. I don't want to say always or never. Don't. 98% of the punches that Foreman threw were with bad intentions. So, but it was a difference. Big dog, you realize they both weighed in at like 212, 215. I'm going back to Frazier and Ali because that's what those two. Yeah. Those guys will be able to suck weight and be cruisers now. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, it was crazy. And I did notice I I would love to see, even though he's 240 now, 235, 240, whatever he is, Usyk fighting in a prime, even though he was only 215, 216, Frazier. Frazier dug that body. Usyk can't take the body. It'd be, you know what I'm saying? And hit left hook like nobody's business. I would love to see that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that fight doesn't go past round 5.
No.
Joe Frazier would tear him up. That left hook him to death.
And you say 5. You say 5. If he can take 4 good rounds of those body shots, because Foreman's coming for the body from day one.
Oh, I thought you meant Frazier.
Frazier, I'm sorry. I'm saying Frazier. Yes. Frazier is coming for that day. He's coming for those hooks that he was shifting organs. Frazier was committed to throwing body shots, and that's what he did. And that left hook. Woo. And a lot of times when he threw it, even against Ali, it wasn't landing because he was throwing it with no form. But he knew it was so powerful. If I can land it, I can end it. If I can land it, I can end it. That's how he broke Ali's jaw. If I can land it, I can end it. But when I was seeing that, I'm looking at, okay, who are the big champs now? Now, yeah, because of so much heavyweight, he would truly have a hard time getting in against a Fury. But once he gets in, he's making those ribs his home.
Oh, yeah.
Frazier would make those ribs his home. But let's not forget, and a jab is all in timing. You can have a guy at 5'11" out jab a guy that's 6'3", 6'4" because it's all in timing. So I think Ali would have beat Fury to the punch with the jab. You know what I mean? But it was just different back then, man. Guys were fighting, leaving it all on the mat, where guys now it's just different, man. But I love watching those old fights. And you got to put me down on what you were saying on what YouTube, what you watch.
Oh, the boxing encyclopedia.
Yeah, I'd love to. So they'll play old fights and talk about old fights, or yeah,
they chronicle like an entire decade, and they'll touch on every major fight of that particular year and go like kind of give a synopsis. It's like 3.5, 4 hours long.
Dude, that's what we need to do. We need to start. We're always talking current sports. I'd like our current matches. I'd like to go back, like overall, what was one of the greatest matches you've ever seen? One that comes to me, Michael Dokes. Tucker. Was it Dokes and Tucker? And I cannot believe it was a war. I cannot believe I'm missing. I can't believe. Hold on, man. And it was I can't believe I'm missing it, right? It was 89. I want to say it was 89. Oh man, it's killing me.
While you're looking at that, one of the fights that always stuck out to me was I want to say this was 81 or 82. Alexis Arguello and Aaron Pryor, the first fight.
Oh yeah.
War.
No, it was Holyfield. Dokes and Holyfield.
Okay.
Dokes and Holyfield.
That was a great fight.
Yeah, Dokes and Holyfield when he lost in the 10th. That was a banger.
Yep.
Yeah, man. But I would like to we each pick 2 or 3 fights. I don't care what weight class. I don't care what year. You know what I mean? And maybe go like your top 3 in certain weight classes. You know what I mean? Or maybe top 5. I don't always want to do top 10, but top 5. I'd love to just and that's what I like doing. We get some of these fights out there. What top 3 trilogies, top 3 rematches? You know what I mean? Or just man, it's crazy.
A lot of
yeah, man. There's some great ones out there. But to be honest with you, man, and we didn't even touch. I mean, like I was gonna say, we didn't touch much MMA tonight. And here, real quick, and we can get to that. Really, also, what I want to get into next week, we can, is here soon. Devin Haney. Did you see him go after Prograis when Prograis said, and he's walked it back, but he said Catterall was the greatest skilled fighter he had ever fought. Now he's saying Catterall isn't, which we knew he wasn't. But he said, I just said that, you know, I wanted to give the man some more shine in his home country. Don't do that. Don't be with honor. And if the guy's not, just say he's a great fighter. You don't have to say he's best ever fought. However, Haney tweets out, I ruined you, Prograis, when I beat you. Haney, why are you talking? You were taking a man to court that beat you. He literally beat you up. There's fights you could have made by now to try to get back on the horse, get back in the winning column, and you haven't done it. So why are you picking out on Prograis? He's about to retire. I just didn't get it. You know, now Haney's saying, I don't know if you haven't seen, we can get into it later. He wants to fight Catterall in the UK. Okay, and they're going to ask Turku Al-Sheikh to fund it. Why? Because no real Eddie Hearn could do it, and he could put up the money, not for what these guys are going to ask or what Haney's going to ask, but who wants to see that fight? Catterall moves, Haney's going to hold a little bit. I don't think that'll be entertaining. I don't think it'll be entertaining. And the fact that they're calling out to Tariq or Turku Al-Sheikh, how you pronounce his name,
yep.
that reeks of a little desperation. But and maybe Haney is, on the one hand, you're calling out a guy who just won some belts. You're calling out a guy who's on top of his game right now, who's on top of the world. If you're calling Catterall out, okay. But are you calling him out because you really think you can beat him and you're that much better, or you want this huge payday? I don't know what it is. Because if you don't win this, that's it. Haney, I don't see you coming back. I just don't. You know what I mean? So it struck me odd. Why? Why are you talking? And his dad, why are you? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Too much talk, not enough work.
No, Haney should be in the gym every day working on the left hook. That's it. Working on defending the left hook. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it. Because regardless of how much strength he had, regardless if he's on the PDs, regardless of how much heavier he was, that was something that the Garcia camp saw he could be exploited with that left hook. Yeah. That is now. And here's the thing. How much stronger was Haney? Because he's dropping him with every left hook. How much stronger was Garcia? Are you telling me Garcia was just that much heavier, that much stronger to where he was punching like a heavyweight or a light heavyweight damn near? Because every time he hit one of them clean, he was dropping Haney. Or is Haney's jaw that suspect to a left hook? We won't know until he gets back in there. We won't know. Hence, is that why we haven't seen him in there?
It's a good question.
You know what I mean?
We may find out an answer in the next 12 to 18 months when he actually enters the ring again, depending on who he's going to fight. But I think he's tanking his career, in my opinion, right now. Yeah. He's wasting time. Hey, I know we've only got a couple more minutes, but just to touch quickly on the Topuria Holloway fight. I mean, Topuria really kind of stunned Holloway. What were your thoughts on this one?
Well, he did on the aspect because he ended up knocking him out. Holloway's never been knocked out. He's never been knocked down, I don't believe.
Yeah.
But Topuria, he wanted from the opening bell, he was like, let's do it in the middle of the ring. And Holloway was like, no, I'm the matador. I'm not going to stand here with you. You're younger, you're faster, whatever. So Holloway knew. However, Holloway in that first round won that first round. And he was starting to separate himself and distance himself the way he was attacking it. Just got caught. He came in a little too close, kept his head on the line, just a looping overhand right, smack in the nose, put him on Quiz Street, and that was it. It's as quick as he came in and that he got hit with that punch, from the time he got hit with that overhand till it was over, 10, 12 seconds, maybe. It might have been a little longer, but I don't think so. And he was there. He was doing what he needed to do. He, as in Holloway, was doing what he needed to do and just got caught. And the nature of the beast.
And then the Chimaev Whittaker fight. Chimaev gets the win over Whittaker. Talk about that one.
Whittaker tapped so fast. Some people saying, well, his jaw was dislocated. I don't know about all that, but it was pretty fast. I don't know. But like I said, if it went to the ground, we knew Chimaev was going to get it. We knew that. And Whittaker had been working on his wrestling. But in a camp or two, you're not going to get to Chimaev wrestling. You're not going to get to those Dagestani wrestlers, those Russian wrestlers. You're not getting to that. You're not. And it was the first time he actually cleanly took his back. And it wasn't. I thought it was a gable grip almost across the chin. I didn't think it was under. So if he did put it on the chin, it's very painful. It is painful, but it's not something that'll choke you up. We've seen other guys get hit with that, and you deal with the pain, but you don't tap. Whittaker tapped, and it shocked us. It really did, man. It shocked us.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Holloway getting knocked out was the shocker, no question.
Yeah.
No question. Hey, Chops, another great show. I wish we could have more time to talk MMA.
I know.
Hey, folks, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can catch us on the ESPN network every Friday night at 10 p.m. We'll be showing these episodes, and we're going to do more what Chops talked about. Talk about a little historical stuff, some old timey stuff going back to the 80s, man. So check that out. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESPN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HaySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.